Hello guys,
Hello.
sorry for the inconvenience. We had some technical problems, but it should be fixed now. Only just the screen, you're gonna see my whole screen for now. I'm gonna try and fix it up later. So my fellow partner is joining me today with casting. Uh, what do you
Yes.
what do you think about the teams?
I think it's gonna be a spicy game, especially with the new jungler from ADD. So
Uh,
yeah, I think
yes,
it's gonna
ADD,
be yeah,
ADD got a new jungler, which is their coach, I think. So that's pretty
yeah.
cool. I don't think most of the teams have coaches, so that's good. They're looking up to improve and dominate this league. And their coach, their current jungler, is I believe it's a higher elo than most of the players.
It's gonna be interesting to see. I think if you have your coach joining in, I think he's gonna have a big voice in how you're supposed to play the game. So maybe we can see more action happening in the jungle and around the jungler as well.
Yeah, what do you think is going to win these games? At least this one game.
I mean, it's we should see. SPD has been proving themselves, and as a group of support players, I think they're doing really well in a tournament like this.
Yeah, SPD is 3-0 and ADD is 0-3. So that's quite the opposite scores of the teams, and we're still waiting for the teams to get ready.
Uh, I think it's definitely going to be an exciting game.
Yeah, I agree. And shall we look at their past games? Do you know what games they played in the past?
I know Sportive played against Troglodytes. They also played against. Uh, where do I have it? They also played against uh, Peg. So yeah, I think Troglodytes is definitely a weaker opponent compared to the rest of the pool. So I think it's just waiting to see how SPD will do against a different opponent. And well, ADD has had a pretty difficult pool, I would say. No,
Yeah.
then
Are you going to join the game to spectate?
I have not.
Actually, you
I have
need to
not been
join
invited yet.
the.
How do?
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh wait. Yeah.
someone needs to go to spectator so that she can join.
How do I? Can you DM me lobby name? Oh wait. I of course can see. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, our apologies for the delay. We're trying to fix it.
Yeah, things happen.
I don't
Um,
know what the password is. You
mm,
have to text Spruffe.
I don't have Spoop added. Wait, can I see like snipe him in general somewhere? Uh, God, ADD. Where are they on the list? There they are. Oh God. Or supportive maybe.
The players are listening. Can one of you go to
Yeah,
spectator?
I'm.
Or
I got invited to. Yeah, great. And I'm
can you
in.
go to spectator?
Yep.
And we're off. Good luck, boys.
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, we're about to go into pick and ban phase. Who do you think? What bans can we expect? Do you know?
Well, I know Thick has been playing a lot of Gnar in the top lane, especially against Troglodytes, so we can maybe expect that. Um, though I don't know the rest of the pool really well of the team. Uh, Maybe we can look towards like some meta bands, picks that are just really strong at the moment. Annie sitting at a 54% win rate even after the hotfix is pretty scary.
Yeah, and some if some people don't know yet, the Aurelion Sol has been banned from the tournament, so none of the players can pick him. So that's gonna be interesting. Maybe any of the players wanted to play it, and their dreams are just shattered now because the announcement was just recently made.
Is that a missed ban on ADD side, or is that a client bug?
I'm not sure if I'm tripping or is it.
That is a bit weird, but a Zac ban nonetheless is still really good. The jungler is one of the demonic abusers, and he can really cause havoc. Caitlyn being banned, being a bot prio champion, probably is something that ADD wants to avoid playing around.
Yeah, and I believe that's a missed ban from ADD, which is really interesting. How did they miss it? Or they had some technical difficulties? We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. It's a rough start, but it's not the end of the world, of course. One missed ban won't ruin your game. And then the Yasuo ban, and instantly a Jax ban. Clearly, Tika does not want to play into that champion. Clearly, ADD either has someone practicing it, or it's just really discomfort. And Zaya first pick coming through.
And SPD is going to respond with Varus and maybe Elise. I don't know. She's hovering it.
Elise would be really good. I mean, you're banning an early game jungler with Jarvan, and I guess with that you want to just kind of take control of the early game. And being an AP champion, it does open up the options for multiple different kinds of mid laners and top laners, where you can split your AD and AP.
Correct.
And
That's
then
an interesting choice. It can be either jungle or top lane. I'm
you could,
expecting to see a Rakan support from Team ADD or something engaging that goes well with Xayah.
yeah, it would make sense, of course, but maybe they leave it open. Maybe they try to flex Gragas into support. It's always an option, though it's a bit weird. And they're blind picking Nico. So they have a lot of flexing potential here, but it does look like they're blind picking their solo lanes, which does raise a question. Is that just something they are super confident in will win them the game, or is it that this is something they need to pick in order to feel like they have a chance? And with pick 3 coming up on red side, it gives you an opportunity to pick a champion. Ashe, really annoying to play against. Also for Azaya, though you do have your ult to dodge the arrow, of course.
Yeah, Nico can
But
dodge it as well. Gragas.
Nico, yeah. And it is kind of good still, because it is a form of engage, but they have a lot of ways to work around it. But the good thing about red side here is you can ban away champions that you know are gonna be bad into your R3 pick. So stuff like Lulu, stuff like enchanters, where they can also try and combat the Ashe. It's gonna be really annoying to play against. Because Renekton being banned, I know he's been practicing it himself, so it is good scouting from ADD that they're trying to target ban top lane here.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to see the Ashe just dominate the bot lane because two ADCs are kind of difficult to play against, but if you can get a good engage on them, you can easily win the lane as well.
I do think with Elise they want a really strong side bot lane here. They're gonna look to play around the double AD carry lane where they have this immense amount of pressure. And with Elise, of course, being the famous level 3 diver that she is, can maybe look for some really interesting plays underneath that tier 1 tower.
Yep.
And then we see the final ban coming in. They're deciding. The Cassante ban does lean kind of towards a more bruisery champion. Cassante matches up really well into them. And then the Gnar ban. So we're going to be seeing something new from Tika, or he wants to pick Ornn here. He's played that before as well.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to see some interesting top lane because ADD has to respond with aggressive top lane so
And
they
they
can
were
play around it.
the Silas pick here, blind, meaning that though it's still a flex, it's most likely going to be mid lane. I wonder if that's just something that the SPD mid laner is comfortable with, because you don't necessarily have the best ults to steal already. It could just be a comfort pick. I doubt they will go top lane. Leona being picked, meaning they'll have plenty of engage with Gragas and Leona, and potentially a Nico flash.
Yep.
And now we see the roster of ADD finalize, deciding on their last pick. Presumably their jungler, but could be top lane. And it's the Fiora top lane with the Gragas being picked. And now I wonder what Dick is going to play here, because Ornn, he's played it before, and it would be kind of annoying to play into the Fiora, but we never know.
Yes, Fiora is really strong in top lane. It's pretty hard to counter her actually. One bad move and you lost the fight. But they're responding with the
And
Darius.
we're getting a skill matchup. If Fiora can parry the Darius W, it's gonna look really gloomy for Darius to try and fight her. But if she doesn't end up proccing her vitals and getting that crucial W off,
Are you here? You just cut out. Um,
between Nico and Silas,
yeah.
it's it is a matchup that can kind of go both ways. Though it tends to be a bit Nico favored. Silas doesn't really enjoy these ranged matchups that much, but of course with the first strike and the Q max, it is a possibility. Though the Nico R does kind of stop everything that Silas wants to do. If you see him throwing his E out, you can just press ult, and then Silas will just take a bunch of damage afterwards and be punished for it. So it's going to be a really interesting lane.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we're gonna get a interesting game here. ADD having plenty of frontline to protect their Xayah, which is most likely going to be their main carry. And SPD really looking for this pick play with the Elise Cocoon, the Varus ult, the Ashe ult, maybe trying to steal a Leona ult from the Silas, and Darius just looking to run in these team fights. But there's a lot of CC.
Yeah. And I think that ADD is really trying out new champs and stuff because like previous games they played, they looking forward to playing a little bit of a different game, and I think there's gonna be a much more action in the bot lane than all the other lanes, just because
Yeah,
the Ashe Varus, Xayah, Leona is just gonna attack each other, and we'll see how this balances up.
it is kind of funny though that both teams have lanes that they can strong side. As in, Fiora can be a real split pushing menace if you give her resource and get her kills. And but Bolin as well. You don't want your Leona and Xayah to be stuck under their tower. You want the Leona to be active. So it's going to be interesting to see what they try and play for and who they are going to focus.
Yeah. Do you think we can expect an early level 1 invade from any of the
Mm,
teams?
I mean, Ashe and Silas are two really good early game champions, and if Darius gets a ghost off and he's running in their team with his Q or his W even, or he might start E, it's going to be really scary if you want to face check that or walk into that when you're trying to defend your own jungle. So they do have Nico with her E being able to get 5-man roots and Saya being able to throw her feathers through the enemy. So uh, I think SPD should recognize that they are stronger level 1, but they should also be scary of a Leona stun or a Nico E. So I think it's just going to be playing safe, getting your 5 points up, and making sure you don't get any fiestas happening level 1.
Yep.
It's also with game 1, you tend to start off slower. It's your first game of the series. You kind of want to feel the opponent, look what they're playing for. So it might be just a slow start, and however, it could look very spicy with at least level 3 potential.
Yeah, and we're about to go into the game in about 10 seconds. We'll see what runes they pick, and maybe they'll pick something off meta, or they found something new they wanna try out, and we'll see.
I kind of want to look at bot lane summoners when they load in because they are going to be really impactful. Did they go double cleanse in bot lane to stop potential Leona engages, or did did Ashe go for ignite or barrier? And yeah, we see cleanse on Varus and ignite on Ashe, so they're going to be looking to kill people. And Leona taking the exhaust, meaning that they want to play it slower. And yeah, Leona did go for the glacial augment as well, meaning she'll be less tanky when she goes in. But I think they're just gonna try and one-shot people with Nico and Leona. Is your client able to load in, or?
Yeah, it's loading.
Okay, well, I'll keep casting on. We see the Conqueror with the Resolve tree on Silas, so he's going to be looking to be more brawlery, more bruisery. We tend to see people go for the first strike nowadays, trying to scale up more, get more money early game, get the free boots, get the cookies, so you can survive the lane. It's an interesting idea to see that, yes, you will get outpoked by the Nico, and so you can't spot your first strike, but it does remain a quite important choice of runes. And we see Comet Varus, so it's going to be lethality, which means they're going to be looking to play fights a bit slower, poke them out, get objective over towers. That build is really strong nowadays, and so much plays around bot lane and objectives with Rift Herald and Dragon stacking that you kind of want to poke your opponent out before they can get into the Dragon pit.
Yeah, and what time are you on? Just to make sure.
Should I just pause and go back to your timer?
Yeah, I'm about to be at 20 seconds just now.
I will go to 20 seconds as well. I am a little I'll be at 30. And then
I'm
okay, what time are you on
currently
now?
35.
35. Then I'll set at 40 and then tell me when you're at 41.
I'm at 41.
Okay. So we don't see an invade happening. 5-pointing or actually 4-pointing. We do see a ward on the red buff. So ADD do know that their jungler at the moment is not at their red buff. She could still recall for sweeper, but at this moment it would be a little late to try and start that. So they will know that Elise is at least not starting her red buff, which is information for ADD that they're gonna look for a play topside.
Yep. And we can see this Darius is just waiting in the bush for the Fiora to come, which is really scary.
Trying to see if she's trying to contest wave level 1, but she's leashing, so that's information gained by SPD, knowing that Gragas is starting topside and that they're on opposite sides of the map. Maybe we can see an Elise trying to walk into Gragas' jungle when she gets level 3, trying to make a play, but bot lane kind of being shoved in, and it is not looking too. Oh, never mind, they got the shove, so it would be an option to do a level 3 invade with the bot prio they have.
Yeah.
And Nico taking. Oh, yeah?
Nothing, nothing. Keep on.
Nico taking Corrupting Potion is an interesting idea. The Corrupting Potion recently has been seen as generally weak,
Yeah,
whereas the Doran's Ring gives you
we can see
mana.
the Leona has flashed out to avoid being picked up by the enemy team. And as
It's
we
worse.
mentioned before, the SPD bot lane is just going to dominate their lane.
Yeah, this is kind of expected. This is a really rough matchup for Leona. Ashe really loves these melee champions. She can just auto attack for free. And we see mid lane trading, and Silas is a half HP. And looking, yeah, he's procced one of his potions, so Nico is using her range really well to try and get an advantage.
Oh, nice Nico EQ just poked out
Yeah,
half of Silas's HP. Just really
and
insane.
that's kind of the problem with Silas into this matchup. You just get outpoked, especially with electrocutes. You can just proc it over and over again, and it's really doomed. Darius gets an apprehend on the Fiora, and that's a really good trade.
Another Nico
Silas is going in.
EQ, ignite from the Nico, she's trying to finish
Oh,
off the kill. Can she get
is
it?
this a kill? Maybe flashy?
Q, but that's
close.
barely enough. Yeah,
This is still really good for the Nico. This means he gets free shove, and because he has TP, he's now forced to burn it basically. Um, and this is just an advantage. You don't
Varus
want to
going
use
in,
TP like that.
flash,
Oh,
grab it.
flash forward, and that's first blood. That's really good from the ADD bot lane, recognizing that Varus is overstepping there. And Varus flashing forward, burning his cleanse, burning his everything he had basically. And that's disastrous for this Ashe Varus lane because you don't want to feed it first blood to the jungler like this and also give them time to farm up and get the assist money.
Yeah, Elise is just sneaking up on the top lane on Fiora, but it seems that like Fiora knows, misses her
Uh,
stun, and it's not gonna
Gets
do
slowed
anything.
by the riposte, and it's just I mean, it's still really grim for this Fiora lane. She's being zoned off of the wave. She's not getting any of the XP. A third plating will go down to the Darius, so it does look like Darius will be quite important in this game. And plating this early, yeah, it is really grim. Of course, Darius taking the ghost, so him having that prio in the lane with the wave is quite important. He can't freely TP back, and yeah, it does mean he is a bit vulnerable to getting shoved in if he's recalling. But it seems to be fine for now.
Yeah, we're gonna look to see junglers trying to gank the bot lane just so they can secure the dragon.
Even though the Varus died, they're still getting a pretty good wave here. And they're gonna get bot prio, maybe looking for an early Hextech Dragon. It is very early though, as Elise is now completing her second clear, but maybe they can try and do it. Hextech Dragon being one of the better ones to pick up as a solo dragon. That extra ability haste and attack speed does tend to come in nicely. It gives you that little bit more fluentness in your champion, and you can really feel it in your auto attacks and farming.
Yeah, and we can see even though Nico hardly outpokes the Silas, he still is keeping up his CS.
He's actually ahead, which is kind of concerning when you're in this Nico matchup because you need to like push a lead. Nico doesn't really play well one behind because she can't really go for those death bush picks. And well, she has her ignite coming up, so maybe she can look for another fight. But with the level 6 on Silas, it is a bit scarier. And this is a Gragas gank, and it's an overextend again. Uh, yeah, that was one of the most free ganks you can ever see. And yeah, it is
We can
a
see
little unfortunate for the ball lane.
yeah, Nico and Silas ulting each other. Elise is coming to mid though.
But if you see those mid trades, Silas cannot trade against the Nico even when he steals the ulti. And he will just dash into the Nico, get stunned. Nico will have the shield to block any of the damage. And it just means you get a losing trade. You do burn the Nico flash here, which is really good if you're Silas and you want to look to fight. But again, um, these trades are really difficult to play. And it's good that you have a CS lead, but if you die once in this lane, it's basically over. And we see Fiora getting pulled back in, getting ulted, and she's dead.
Yeah,
And oh, that was such a good cocoon from the Elise as well, hitting Nico when invisible.
Nico actually got me confused as a caster.
I Yeah, I was a bit silent because I didn't know if it hit
Yeah,
the
yeah,
real Nico or not.
yeah, but that
Anyway,
was
we see a level advantage, and we see Gragas walking in really deep. This is really scary. Maybe he has E to walk out, but he needs to get beyond that blue buff. But it's still really scary. He has no E. He doesn't have Phase Rush, so it's just up to any of the Dark Harvest stacks. And very good counter engage. Gragas is living for now, dead to the Ignite from Ashe, but it's a 1-for-1. And I say this is really good for ADD. You want more kills on this bot lane, getting more kills to the Ashe, a double kill to the Varus. This is looking really good for ADD, and they're getting ahead in the early game.
yeah, but the SPD has their top lane, which is currently dominating his lane, even getting a solo kill.
and he's also two-play things up, so that makes the gold lead, well, basically null. It's 100 into the favor of support diff, and we see another fight top lane, and he proc the ghost. There's no flash in Fiora. I think she's just dead. Yeah?
Yeah, she's dead.
I mean, when a Darius gets ahead like that, and you're a Fiora, if you don't riposte that E, you are gonna die. The apprehend will kill you. And that was without Darius ult. So when she goes back into lane, he can flash on her and he can one-shot her again. And this is really rough now, unless there's a jungle intervention happening.
Yeah, AD has a lot of problems in their top lane, and Darius is gonna be a huge problem. We can see that Sylas engaging on Nico. Nico is just gonna ult and survive this gank. Ashe ult coming out, but missing it.
It's like Crowley's comment flying across your screen and you see it for half a second.
Yeah,
But
Darius getting another plate, clearing his vision.
I do think that even though your top lane is really ahead at SPD, it is going to be a little rough. Oh, we see Nico killing Silas solo. That's not something you can escape from. He doesn't burn the flash, realizes he's dead. And, well, that's the kill over to Nico. And now that mid lane is going to look really grim.
Yeah, bot lane is pushing in hard, but they probably know that the Gragas is in top side. Otherwise, they wouldn't be pushing so hard.
Hmm.
Just
They have no vision. They're playing off of intuition. They know that Gragas didn't walk over that red buff ward in their jungle, and they have the river warded. So they're in a safe spot. Their only danger is the Tribush, and yeah, if with Ash Arrow they can scout it out.
yeah, and it's been 10 minutes into the game, and no one has got the early dragon yet.
I think this game has been too much of a fiesta to really fight for dragons. Oh, we see Leona engage on the Ash, no cleanse. Yeah, she's just dead to the Zaya. And again, oh, we see a Varus ult, it hits the Leona. And the ballin is so low, and as a Varus you want to like flash in and kill them, but you don't have it, you just use it.
Yeah, and Gragas coming up for the backup. Elise is going to meet Gragas in the jungle river. We're gonna see what's going to happen.
Yeah, he sees him clear the ward, knows that there's nothing I can do. His mid laner is running over though, and this is scary. Yeah, that's a cocoon, and that's a dead Gragas. And this is really good. Silas gets a kill, he gets double buffs, which means it's really gonna be quite a crucial thing. They get the dragon here, and this is good. You want to start stacking these dragons as SPD later than you want it, but still quite good.
Yeah, we can see Xayah is. I mean, Nico is trying to maybe steal it, but she's gonna fail to do that.
I think as the Nico there, you should just look for mid wave. You know, Silence is helping it. You can push that mid wave in, deny him more CS. You are behind on CS, so you want to close that gap a little. But yeah, we see Varus getting engaged on. He has the cleanse. Exhaust going down. Nah, he doesn't proc it. He knows he's dead. And this is looking really rough now for this bot lane that just wants to win. But there's nothing to do when you are behind like this.
When you're playing Ashe support, you don't wanna be behind against the enemy bot lane. This is not. It's gonna be hard to go back into the game for the bot
And
lane.
it's even worse because yes, you have a Darius and he has the Ghost and he has Flash in fights, but those are cooldowns that he has to use to run people down. And with a Gragas having E, his ult, the slow, the Leona stuns, the root, and the stun from Nico, how do you play these fights as a Darius when you want to run into them, but you just get stunned and CC'd forever?
Yeah. We see Silas is still keeping up the CS lead, and Leona going on into Varus ults.
But it's a really good counter ult, and the Ashe ult is also really good. Heal being procced from the Zaya, and this was a really bad fight for them to take.
Ashe flash.
They should know that the sums are up. And that's just a double kill to the bot lane. Yeah. And this is kind of problematic now. Because yes, you are still 4 kills up, but this is going to be free time for Varus to farm. It's going to give him a free recall. And it's a shutdown as well. And yes, it's on the Ashe, but when Ashe gets Imperial Mandate, her whole team is going to do more damage. They finally get the control in the river now. And yeah, it's just a recall angle, get your items. And
Yeah,
now Bollin's back to being pretty much even.
SPD is responding with doing the Herald, which is still, they didn't lose as much. I mean, they won twice as much as they wanted.
And even though you have this winning bot lane, your gold lead is ballooning. Playthings are gonna fall, so you can't really like get any more of those plates in the bot lane. And we just see across the board that SPD has taken more plates, has had to push more often. And with this gold lead, it's gonna look scary. The Rift Herald here is really important in breaking open those tier ones, especially when a dragon is gonna spawn. It's a lot of pressure that's gonna be applied on the map.
Yeah, we can see that Darius has a pretty good gold lead against the Fiora.
We do see ADD getting that river control, taking the Scuttle Crab. That at least gives them vision of roams. And that makes this river difficult to walk into. Dragon should be spawning pretty soon. The first one's taken at around 10 minutes. So that Scuttle Crab is really hurting the SPD river control.
Yep. We can see there's not much happening on the map right now. Gragas tried to look out for the bot lane gang. They had vision there. Everyone is just farming, chilling.
I notice a unique itemization happening across the board. Greg is going for the lucidity boots, meaning he really wants to like spam those abilities, get people knocked up and CC'd for as long as possible. Leona going Bramble first, which there isn't much healing on the SPD side, but against that double AD carry lane, it will rack up in value and in damage. And Silas deciding to go for the Everfrost, thinking I need something that can root them in place for longer. And yeah, I'm wondering if this is a good play. Fiora parrying the execute from Darius. And well, as much as that is a small win for the Fiora, it's a small win when you're already down quite a lot of gold.
Yep, Drake is spawning pretty soon. Darius is roaming to mid lane actually, maybe trying to look for the Gragas kill. Silas engaging on the Nico, both ulting each other. And we can see
And that's
Nico falls, Silas flashes out to survive.
that was really well played from SPD. It was really good baiting out the Nico ult, using them both at the same time, meaning you both don't take damage, but the stun is valuable. And if you're stunned, it doesn't matter because your teammate is there and you can just complete the dive.
Yeah, they get the first tower of the game.
They
And
get
they're
two. Oh wait, no, it was Darius mid lane. I thought Darius was top lane, my bad. But that's mid first tower. Top is about to fall.
yeah,
Bot lane is half HP. And that's just another dragon.
yeah, they're gonna secure it with 4 men. Darius is going to protect his tower in the top lane. And Team AD can't really do much about it.
If you want to show the stream the gold differences between the players themselves, um there's this quite you can really see the gap in mid lane and top lane in value being about 1k ahead, or Darius being 2k ahead even. Um, with your only saving grace being your AD carry, but it's looking really rough. She's getting dove. It's a 1-for-1, but Gragas is there, and Elise makes it out. That was really clean from the Gragas to get the 1-for-1 trade. Zaya almost living, but unfortunately not. Gragas looking on to complete the fight. And yeah, I think it ends here. Never mind. He keeps going. Maybe a bit deep. Never mind. The Leona is there. The Nico is there. And it's just a clean up. Uh, Overall, 3 for 2. And this is not bad if you're ADD. You're behind and you want to get more money. You want to get more value. Especially at this point in the game when no objectives are spawning. You've already lost your towers. It's good to find these kills now instead when you have 50-second death timers when you can lose a lot.
Yep. You can see Leona is scouting out the enemy vision. Silas catch him up to her, but Nico is coming from behind. E stun, Q, ult, Ash ult, just Silas is just dead. How did
This
Silas
is
even survive that long? He's just
I it's Silas. If he maxed W, he might have actually survived for longer there. Of course, going Q max, which means you are better in poking and not really amazing in those 3v1 fights, but
yep.
it does show the Everfrost. You can get the root and it gives you HP and it gives you value, but afterwards it doesn't really do much for you. Um, I really wonder why he decided to not go for the Rod of Ages build. In this case, it wouldn't have mattered much, but when you get the 10 stacks on it, it gives you so much stats and health and ability haste that those fights become a lot more playable and bearable, and even though he wouldn't kill anyone, he might have lived.
Yeah, there is pushing in on the bot tower, trying to get it, but Gragas is bot side. They might look for a kill, but Darius is just gonna go back.
Nah, it's just looking like macro domination from SPD. They know top lane was just outperforming their laner, and right now he's getting a catch on the Nico as well. He might even catch up. He procs the ghost, indeed, flashes forward, gets the kill. And yeah, this Darius is looking to be real strong and really scary, and there hasn't even been a team fight yet for him to shine in.
Yeah. And Gragas can't really do that much. He's not that good at 1v1s, I guess. He can't really gank anyone. No one has towers.
If you're ADD, your only chance of killing this Darius is getting a Leona engage on him, slamming the exhaust on him, and then trying to one-shot him with Gragas, Nico, and Zaya. But like, when do you see that happening? You see Darius building the Death Dance, meaning he's difficult to burst down. He has Merc, so you have to change your CC chains properly, and the AP damage is just going to be reduced by a lot.
Yep. We can see that Silas went to top lane to get a bit of CS and level. Gragas engaging on the Elise, Ashe ult on the Gragas. Gragas is gonna fall off. Nico tried, but she was too slow.
Again, this is looking really grim, but they're gonna get an engage on the Darius, but it's just Nico alone, and of course, this game is now difficult to play, but you have to look, where can you try and win still? Your Zaya is still gonna be really difficult to kill in a traditional front-to-back teamfight, as long as she doesn't get caught by the Elise Cocoon and an Ashe arrow or a Varus ult, it's gonna be playable, but they keep getting caught by these Elise Cocoons, and it's just unfortunate. Leona has to burn her flash. Of course,
Yeah.
with Hex Flash, you can still engage, but it's not the same as a normal flash where you can flash E on someone, and yeah.
It looks like SPD is going to reset to go get and secure the Drake. It's the third Drake for them, which is pretty impressive that they managed to get all three Drakes. And they're gonna be on Soul Point, which is even scarier for Team ADD.
We see them all group up, even though Silas does have the teleport. I wonder if he just wants to save it, or if he decides that top lane isn't going to be much of a threat with that push happening. Fiora doesn't decide to recall, so she is going to be up there, maybe get that tower, get some damage on it. And it's a pretty okay trade if you are ADD. You can't take this Drake anyway, you are way too weak, you need to look for other things around the map. And you can't do Baron because you're not tanky enough, you're not strong enough to do it. So as difficult as it is to accept, this is the best play, and maybe this is the coach, now jungler, kind of improving their macro a little bit.
Yep. But ADD
And we
did
see,
make a lot of mistakes that went horribly wrong, but SPD is just trying to finish the game as soon as possible, getting towers, engaging now on the Leona, flashing Gragas.
oh, but the Gragas gets the kill on the Ashe, and that's a Xayah ult, getting the pullback on the feathers, and this is what I was talking about. It's so difficult to kill this Xayah, especially with the Gragas there, the Leona there, and Darius isn't in this fight. Their main carry is just missing, and you have two low HP targets, they're both gonna die. At least might live, but this is so unfortunate if you're SPD, but it's so good for you. Uh, the chase is dead now. The Fiora got cocooned. Leona is low. She should be careful. She knows Darius is there, but this is really good for ADD. They got a pick.
Yeah,
Um,
they lowered the gold lead by almost 2000 gold, which is huge for them. We're gonna try and look to get their
Mm.
second tower of the game.
And if you look at the carry, the Zaya, she has her core, she has a Gale Force, she has her I forgot this item, Navori Quickblade, and it is something they can play around. Darius gets the hook, does get the ulti off, but that's a shutdown. That's 800 gold to the Zaya, and the gold lead's now like sharp 2k. And this is really bad for SPD, and it's a little weird to see Tika try to fight like that in a 3v1.
Yeah, really impressive plays from ADD picking up, knowing that Darius is not there, just getting the gold lead to lower up to only 1000 gold now.
And the gold is very minimal now, especially like I said before, you have these core items now on your carries. Darius has 2 items, the rest of his team barely has 2, and especially with those lower cost items, the Varus and the Ashe are keeping up, but Zaya's on 3. Grag is on 3, Fiora is building up to that Bork, and Nico practically has a Zonias in her pocket. So it is going to be quite close in these fights. Because that extra Ruby Crystal is not going to matter that much at this point in the game. And it is looking a little bit more difficult for SPD, who really want to keep their lead and can't afford to throw it.
Yeah, ADD is a bit more scaling in my opinion, but SPD need to just try to focus, end the game as soon as possible, get one good play, and they win the game.
Yeah, it is still really close. One fight can flip the Baron, get you a bunch of gold, a bunch of towers down, and swing pressure a lot. But it's really impressive from ADD to equalize this. They do skill more. Of course, Fiora being able to skill with her vitals, and Zaya being a more DPS oriented AD carry than the Varus is. And you gotta wonder when when do you, as SPD, realize you can't fight anymore and you have to out macro them?
Yeah, we're gonna see. They're going to get vision. Oh,
Ooh,
nice
that's a
Varus ult.
nice barrel, but the Varus ult stops the engage. The barrel doesn't get much, and you now burn Zaya, Gale Force, and ult. She has no defensive tools. And I wonder, do you just run to Baron now, knowing that they can't really fight you? Because Zaya doesn't have any defensives to stop Darius from touching her.
I think both teams are gonna look out for the Drake, but Team SPD is just currently dominating the Dragon Pit. They have all the vision they need. They are there as a team. Fiora is still pushing top lane, but she does have TP for the fight.
Yeah, and with Dragon spawning in 50, the Gale Force won't be off cooldown yet. The ult may be. The ult will be off 10 seconds after Dragon spawns, so if SPD doesn't take it quick, then ADD has a chance of fighting it back. The Gale Force will also be off cooldown by then, so you got this win, but you need to do something with it if you want to take advantage from it. And at the moment, it doesn't look like they're doing it.
Yeah, I
We
think
do see.
the rest of the game is going to decide on this fight if they do fight.
I'm a little concerned with SPD's itemization because, yes, they're all on 2 items now, but your Silas is not really building any damage. He has Cosmic Drive, he has Everfrost, so he is really low on the AP department, only having about 190 AP. And that's a pick on the Ashe, so you now have no Ashe arrow to start a fight. You don't have the Ignite, and she burned her Flash, so do you just give up this Dragon Soul, realizing that you will have more chances? It does look like it. However, they do steal the Leona ult. Leona goes in. But this is where Darius can shine. No one is feeling the Zaya, so this is really bad for ADD. They get the Silas kill. And Zaya actually beats out the Darius in a one-on-one. And this is now disastrous for SPD. The flash from Varus is forced out. And it's just Elise against the 3 members left of ADD.
Yeah, really played for very well played from Team ADD. They're gonna get the Drake, or Elise is trying to steal it, but she's not gonna succeed. Ashe
Oh,
ult gets
what an
Drake.
arrow! That's huge. You get the shot on the Varus. It might not be the most important person because he is the poke Varus. He's not going to do that huge amount of damage that you want him to do. But still, that 800 gold shutdown right into the pocket of the Varus, which means he can now almost finish his mana immune. And once he gets that stacked up, his Qs are going to hurt a lot more.
Yep. And Varus was in very good position. He was safe from the enemies. He picked a very well kill, and we're gonna see teams may go for Baron now.
And this is where I wonder, do you want to buy that QSS on Zaya? You didn't take the cleanse, so by not taking QSS here, you are not paying your taxes against all the CC that can be thrown at you. And this will make the game very difficult to play. As I said before, mana immune completed for Varus. Darius is gonna go towards that force of nature, which means that Nico and Gragas won't really be hitting him a lot. Zaya will still be the only person, but she's not really building any damage or armor pen. With that second Zeal in her inventory, it's looking like a Hurricane or a Rapid Fire Cannon, but that is not going to give you the DPS in these fights to play it. You don't
Yep.
have the Kraken Slayer. You don't have that true damage in your kit to burn through the Darius, because as he will get tankier and tankier, especially with this mountain Drake they have and potentially the Soul, you're gonna wonder, will they be able to actually damage through their front line?
You can see the Fiora pushing in bot lane. She doesn't really have any vision to see if the enemies are coming, but Silas is coming. I don't think he can
Fiora
1v1 the Fiora.
Fiora is still incredibly behind, 2k gold down on the Darius, which means she didn't really have a chance to get any items to start split pushing. It is still really grim for this Fiora to try and do anything on the side lane. And then we see a fight happening mid. Leona ult goes wide. They go into the Lilies, caught by the Gragas, and she pops her Zonia. And that's just a dead jungler. But it's in the trade for the Leona. I wonder if you take that, dashing forward as Zaya, realizing, hey, I can't walk forward with this Silas ult. Darius is right there, and this is what you want, but this Ghost wasn't on off cooldown. So this is now a little unfortunate for ADD, but also for SPD, it's just a 1-for-1. SPD might look towards the Baron, but it seems to be slowing down a lot more now.
Yeah, SPD do not have their jungler, so I don't think they can really go for the Baron.
Yeah, it would be a little weird if it did. They're trying to bait it out, pull him into the Darius, see if he can get an apprehend, get a pick. I do want to talk about the gold lead because the gold lead is only in the Darius's hands. The 1.2k gold lead is in the Ashe and in the Darius, and I don't know if you want that gold lead being in the Ashe. The AD carry Xayah is ahead of the Varus. Mid lane is even, and jungle is dead even as well. You are gonna wonder how will these fights carry out with the carries. Darius does have 1800 gold in his pocket, so he should be looking to recall for the Force of Nature. He's doing that now. Silas having 1500, he could look to go towards the Shadow Flame maybe if he does want that damage.
Yeah,
And overall,
we see
yeah.
that Team ADD is looking forward to getting Baron maybe. They have the vision, two of the SPD members are bot side, but they don't really know that they're bot side. The Drake is coming up in 50 seconds as well.
Yeah, and but you do have to be careful of these ultimates from the Ashe, from the Varus, and the Elise Cocoon even. They are quite longer range. Though you can take the initiative with the Hex Flash from the Leona and Gragas going Blue Smite. But Gragas being caught here, Ashe Arrow barely misses, and yeah, it turns into a little trade, but Gragas can just heal that up with passive. The Varus ult goes in, the stun on the Nico, but Nico gets her ult off, and then Silas walks in. Zonia says the Gragas barrel, and this fight is just at a stalemate for a bit. Good calling back of the feathers, the ulti lining up really well, and this Zaya can now just free fire into the Darius, into the rest of the team. 1v3, 2v3, Fiora is there now, and that's the team fight one. Is this a penta angle for Zaya?
She's gonna steal it. let's steal it. Just secure the ace. But quadra kill from Xayah. Really well played from AD Totti.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Totti was screaming Penta in voice comms there, because that is a highlight reel moment, and the extra zeal, putting in work, giving her the extra attack range, the extra attack speed to get more feathers down. And she's pushing mid while Fiora decides to take the second dragon. And this is probably one of those macro plays that their jungler is like, who knows more about the game, knows that, hey, we could take dragon here, we're all respawning, and while you're taking dragon, we're gonna walk up to the baron here. They're all respawning as well, and we can take control of this and potentially even get it.
Yep. And for one moment, it looked like SPD is really winning the fight. They got 3 of the Team ADD members down. Then Xayah just popped off with her ult, did so much damage. And yeah.
The like I said before, there's no damage in this SPD itemization. We see Silas having Zonia and Cosmic Drive kind of playing like Bjergsen did in the LCS, where he went Zonias and Banshee, and it didn't really do anything. You don't have any damage to utilize your survivability with, but the Ash Arrow lands on the Nico. Nico is dead. Gragas is gonna die too. This is looking like a real split fight, but Xayah kills the Silas. And Xayah is now caught by the cocoon. Darius is gonna hunt her down, and she's dead. And this is looking like a Baron angle for SPD. Their Silence is the only one going down, and never mind what I said about damage, because there clearly is in their build somewhere the ability to kill the Xayah, especially still with the double Mountain Dragons. And this is now looking more into the favor of SPD again, because this Baron is gonna get them inhib towers and is gonna get them perma prio in lanes. However, Ash executes, so we might see a steal happening. There is Zonia, and that's the end of it. He might live, props the ulti, dies to the burn, and that's Baron. And that's a lot of gold now in SPD's pocket.
ADD did respond with the bot lane tower, but it's totally not worth it. And if you look at the map, SPD is just controlling the top side of the map completely in vision.
Yeah. And it's kind of sad to see that both Elise and Silas are ignoring to build any magic pen. You have the Shadow Flame there giving you 20, but that 20 magic pen gets nullified by one of the Mountain Dragons, and now there's a second one on top of it. So you're not getting no value out of those items. So if the one more dragon goes over to SPD, I think it's going to be really difficult for the Silas and Elise to kill anyone, and they're going to heavily rely on Tavares to land his Qs and his ults. Also, Silas going for Tavares going for the Edge of Night, meaning that he can't really get caught by the Leona anymore, also with the cleanse up. However, you are sacrificing that Cyrilda's item that you kind of want to get third, maybe even fourth, but it's not even being prioritized at all with the Maul being brought up now.
Yep. And the gold diff is there's barely any gold diff. It's like 1 in a bit gold.
Also, gold diff at this point in the game tends to not matter as much. You have your core items. Nico is gonna get her Shadow Flame, which will be annoying and will be a threat. Talking about Nico, she's being fought by the Silas, also being traded, Zoni being popped. And well, yeah, you just walk out of Silas. Never mind, he goes back in for the fight. Doesn't get the kill! And Zaya's just there, and Zaya knows exactly what he wants to do. Gets to play, that's a good pick, but you're gonna maybe trade ball in for that. This Darius is really unable to die if your AD carry is top lane. And engage on the Leona, I don't think that's who you want to be engaging on. Leona flashes forward, doesn't die to the ignite, Zaya has no R. So this was just a trading of ultimates, and I think it's in the favor of SPD. Because you really don't want Zaya to have the ult up and your Ash Arrow is going to be up in 10 seconds anyway.
Yeah, Xayah is split pushing mid lane. She's in really bad situation. She can be picked up anytime, but she's leaving.
She is safe on the map because no one's up there, but like she's not doing anything. She walked over the control ward. They know she's top. I'm kind of surprised they're not deciding to stay bot lane because it is a 4v4, but the main carry of ADD is missing and is not in the right spot.
Yep.
Does get a recall off. And I wonder why she would greet for the top wave there. Maybe she's looking to sell her boots, but she only has 2k gold in her inventory, so
Yeah.
I'm kind of confused.
The Drake is coming up pretty soon. SPD is still on soul point. If they get this soul, that's really huge for them.
I think whoever gets this dragon will probably end up winning the game. The extra armor on this low damage comp that SPD has already is gonna be really annoying, but if you get soul, yes, Cesaria has LDR, but she doesn't have the Kraken Slayer, which does the true damage you want. And aside from that, you don't really have a lot of consistent damage to break through the armor and MR. We see the Nico ult being stolen, we see the Ashe arrow being thrown earlier, and yeah, SPD is just forcing them out of that choke point. They're looking to reroute back to the bottom side of the Dragon Pit, looking through river, but Gragas is half HP, Nico is super low. You can't walk in here as ADD, and I think you have to give up and hopefully hope for a misplay from SPD when it comes to the Elder. We see Fiora TPing mid lane, trying to create some form of pressure, some form of distraction. Maybe Gragas can go in and steal it, and that's a close steal. Gragas flashes out. You get the inhibitor as consolation prize. Maybe they can stop the backs, but yeah, Darius' recall stopped. Varus does finish his recall though, and Nico just dies.
Also, Nico tried to flash out of Silas ult stealing thingy. That was a bit weird, but small misplay. It's fine.
But this is now again really grim. The game is bouncing back and forth a lot in terms of who has tempo, who has control. And you have to be happy that you get this mountain now as SPD, because it stops the mountain stacking that ADD can do, and the extra resistances and the shield you get on top of it is really beneficial.
Yep.
Now I think it's going to be a slow game. Baron is spawning in 44 seconds. Silas is just farming up everything he can, denying more gold from the Gragas. And maybe he's going to look to recall, buy his death cap. Again, no Void Staff, but that is something we might look for in the future. Yeah. Doran's Ring being sold for that second needlessly large rod, giving him 60 more AP. And we finally start to get see some damage going into the build for Silas. Maybe a bit late, but as this game went on, it didn't matter that much.
Yeah, the Baron spawning in short time, and we can see both teams are going to try and contest it maybe. Silas is pushing bot lane, he doesn't have it, oh he does have a TP, so he will be there for a fight.
The good news is for ADD is that you're still really ahead in your AD carry. You should be looking to sell your boots pretty soon for maybe like a GA or something so that you can survive these fights more. Nico Zonias is the cocoon and the Varus ult. The Ashe ult follows up. It doesn't achieve much, so you could say this is a slight win for SPD or for ADD. But the ult cooldowns are so short. The cocoon gets procced again. Nico has to ult to try and survive. This is difficult to play.
Silas is still pushing bot lane, he is probably getting tower. Gragas
And
gets picked
Gragas.
off.
These cocoons are really deadly to ADD right now. They can't be like walking into the jungle like this. They don't have vision. They should know that they're not on it because they have the scuttle crab. So it's kind of confusing why they're trying to fight in that choke point. The Baron is definitely lost now. You lost bot tower for it as well. And this is a disaster.
Yeah, really well played from the Silas of the split pushing, he forced the team ADD to go back and defend their base.
It's also smart usage of the teleport, like holding it, knowing you have it, you don't need the TP there. And with that, you can just take the tower, and if a fight does break out, well, there's so many wards in the ADD jungle that you can teleport anywhere you want virtually.
Yep.
We see the Raptors being denied. And you're kind of being choked out as ADD. You only have one member that can really kill them at this point, and yeah, you have to peel for her. I wonder if Zaya is gonna look to sell her boots. Nope, she just buys another red pot and sticks on the 5 items. And that's now unfortunate because you have all this money that you can invest in a GA because the game is gonna end soon. And yeah, at this point the gold lead is starting not to matter anymore. We see a 2 item lead on the side that's really gonna matter in the damage department. And even though there's no magic pen, the extra AP will still hurt them quite a bit.
Here you can see SPD is pushing top lane and mid lane. I don't know if Nico is enough to stop the Darius.
They're looking with 4 people there, and SPD is just gonna play ping pong with them. They're gonna send them mid with the wave there, and then Derek's gonna push in that wave, and you have to go back and forth as ADD, trying to hold off both forts. And with your wave clear being heavily hindered by that Baron buff, this is really difficult to play out. Good engage from the Gragas, but misses the ultimate. And yeah, now this fight is looking really doomed. Cyrus gets the Zonius off in time thanks to the Mercury threads that really saved him there. And you are really desperate now as ADD to try and get a fight somehow.
Yeah, not looking good for ADD. They're getting 2 second inhib. They're gonna need to defend a lot. They have
Silas
Baron.
TP's back in. They're looking to end the game here. They get the catch on the Fiora. Fiora is gonna die. Leona's gonna die. Yeah, this is just game over. As a Zaya here, you're seeing your kingdom fall in front of you. Everything's crumbling down. And we go from having almost a penta in the mid game to just a chokehold from SPD looking to claim game 1.
Yeah, GG's. Really well played from both teams. ADD really made Team SPD sweat for that.
Yeah, but this was a really close game. ADD really showing that they do have fight in them against a team that's at the top of the standing. So this is going to be really exciting.
And just so you guys know, the most damage done in this game is 41,700 from the Team ADD Xayah.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna go on a small break until the next game starts, so see you in a few minutes. And we are back, guys.
Yeah, let's hope for a good game two. There was a really close one in game one, and I think as ADD, you do wanna get that win in again. You were so close with getting those dragons at the in the end, almost winning every fight at the later stage of the game. And I think if you go for a run it back, maybe get something better to answer the Darius, you are in a really good spot for game two.
Yeah, um, we. I'm really hoping ADD to come back. We're gonna see first win of Team ADD of the split of the Sunday Cup.
Yeah, it is exciting, and of course with these games being so close and SPD being such a strong team, it would be really impressive if they can take a game off of them. We do see ADD selecting blue side again, which means they will be getting that first pick priority, which can be wanted so much. But as we see at different levels of play and in other games, red side is also something that you can really play with. So I think they just uh, wanna first pick a strong power pick for them and hope that I can carry them the game.
I'm just making some changes to this thing. Don't mind the stream.
Yeah. I'm wondering if SPD are gonna go back to that Ashe support because it worked really well for them in the mid and late game, but in lane it was really difficult for them after that kill going over to the Zaya and Zaya getting 5-0 at one point. So we can. I wonder what we're gonna see from bot lane.
Yep, and we're just making sure everyone is ready for these games.
Yeah, it is something that I hope this game is gonna become really entertaining as much as the last one. I do hope my voice can hold through.
Yeah, last
And
game was insane.
yeah, I still have some of the adrenaline from it, so it's yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. Maybe we see level one invade this time.
Yeah, would be cool to see. And we see that ADD swapped a player. I believe it's their ADC.
No, Totti is still playing
No, but Totti was playing.
Zaya last game, no?
Yeah, but he's. I think he's top lane. Not sure though.
Ah, so they're gonna also swap the lane position. I'm wondering if this is a situation that's purely based on matchup or based on like other situations because uh, I don't think top lane really could have done anything differently there, especially picking the Fiora blind. You're kind of thrown into the Thunderdome, as some of us like to call it, where it's just doom for you. And of course, it's winnable, but it is difficult. We see the Ash ban, so we do see a the first ban not being missed by Team ADD, and
Yeah,
yeah,
ADD don't wanna see more Ashe ults coming in. And
the Darius
Darius.
response.
Yeah.
I think they're just gonna ban any of the power picks they were struggling against, and well, I'm happy to see this. I'm happy to see that draft adaptation from Team ADD, realizing, hey, these champions were really scary, and the Jax ban again. Oh, it's probably trying to target Team ADD heavily.
Yep. ADD did change their team comp, so SPD probably don't really know what they play in top lane, because I believe that Tote is top laner now. Not sure though.
That is the strength of a substitution, right? You don't know what they're gonna play now. The Xayah ban. Um, it was a champion that really worked well for them. Maybe they're scared that SPD will pick it. Maybe it was a snipe away from the SPD AD carry, and well, it's a question mark in the ban phase for me. But maybe it is something they prepped for or thought of before.
ADD does have a coach, so he probably knows what is he doing. Like, they probably prepared a lot for this match, especially
Mm-hmm.
when Team SPD is 3-0 in the Sunday Cup. So
We see a Jinx pick, a classic hyper carry. Not really been in the flavor recently, and you're trading it for a Caitlyn, which is not the best Jinx matchup. But if Jinx does get rolling in this lane, then Caitlyn doesn't have anything to play for, and it will be Zaun winning in that Piltover matchup.
yeah, SPD picking Elise, which is interesting as well. I believe they
Yeah.
played Elise last game as well, right?
Yes, they did, and they did get value out of it. I wonder if he's gonna go the red smite build again. I do think blue smite would have been slightly more optimal, but if you're not main engage, it's not the main problem. Seraphine being traded, probably. Well, this can be flexed into support. It can be flexed into mid, and it works really well with the Hecarim. Hecarim, of course, being nerfed a lot of those patches ago after his Q rework, but with Black Cleaver buffs on the horizon and Jackshow and Radiant Virtue still being relatively strong items, he can really run in those team fights with the Seraphine healing and shielding him up.
Yeah, Hecarim is a really strong build. Pick, I mean, he is still really strong, with especially with the full AD build, like Duskblade and stuff. Just helps you
Mm-hmm.
just run around the enemies and they can't even catch you.
I do wonder if Bard here is a like read of something or what their intent was. Akshan being banned, so yeah, we didn't see the Nico blind here, so that could be something targeted at the ADD mid laner. And I'm already starting to like this draft from ADD a lot more than their previous draft. They have the flexibility options with Seraphine. You can even potentially flex your top lane if you're willing to risk it. Um, and Hecarim works really well with that champion, giving her the ult extensions, the movement speed that the W gives for Seraphine really helps your Hecarim. Your Hecarim is shielded and healed a lot. And it's just a big damage combo that they have, and they can fight forever and ever.
Yeah,
And it does look like they're respecting the flex on the SPD side, banning both Lulu and Akshan. Maybe it's the Akshan ban is related to top, but this is smart utilization of your bans, but targeting multiple roles with your bans is really good when you don't know where everything is going. Because the only thing you know for sure is that Jinx Lady carry and Hecarim is mid. And we see the Silas ban. Um, Silas has really good ults to steal here. The Jinx Rocket, the Hecarim ult, the Seraphine ult. It is a good ban. You know that the enemy plays it because they played it last game. And yeah, it is looking a lot better. Yone being picked. Now this is also still a flex. And this is really interesting now. Because you're gonna look at what ADD wants to pick. And they're gonna have to blind one of their solo lanes once again. Which means that you don't know what you're up against. And that Yone can be flexed into the matchup you prefer the most.
yeah, I do like Team ADD team comp a lot more this game, and it's really strong with the Hecarim, Seraphine, Jinx, Nico as well.
Mm, I We now see the mid lane pick for ADD. It's Nico. Unless they put Nico support and Seraphine mid, that would be really spicy. That might be really good into the Caitlyn lane. Though Seraphine is a response to Caitlyn as well. And we're seeing a Shen. So this comp is really gonna be protect the Jinx or protect the Hecarim, and have one of them just run rampant in the fights, and maybe the Hecarim can shut down this Caitlyn.
Yeah, and Team ADD is really scaling as well.
Mm-hmm. But we have to be careful of Caitlyn. We see the Gnar being picked. Um, this top lane matchup does look unique. We do see Elise being the sole AP user on this SPD side, which is good if she gets ahead, but if she falls behind, you're going to be lacking AP damage. So maybe we can see a level 1 invade to shut down that Elise early.
Yep. And
However,
I think that I have no idea what team is going to play around what side. Like Hecarim does need
mm,
to get few picks, like few kills, at least to get his power spike, the few items.
Elise has to play for ball lane here. I don't think you can really do anything against the Shen. If he dodges the cocoon, he just ease out of there and he's free home running. And Gnar is not really your carry. You're playing Caitlyn, so you're gonna have to be bought nearly all the time. And I think Hecarim will recognize this too. Um, of course, you still have the option of just pathing top to bot twice and taking the dragon at 7 minutes. Um, especially as Hecarim, who loves to power farm, and with power farming being buffed, getting the jungle treat gold every 20 seconds instead of 30 seconds really accelerates your smite and that gold income you're getting.
Yeah, but Hecarim is gonna be a huge problem for the Caitlyn and maybe a problem for the Yone because Hecarim can just ult in on the team fight and
Uh,
Caitlyn is going to probably die if he goes full AD. If he goes a bit
there's
more tanky with Divine Sunderer, then he might not be as big of a problem.
It's I see in the chat that someone's asking whether Nico is a meta pick at the moment. Nico is a real niche pick. You can really fool some enemies with it, and it does get lane control really early. It is really unique, and I do like that they're just willing to go back to it, even though it didn't do super well in the first game. So they either have a lot of comfort on that champion, or they have something planned here.
Yep. And who do you think is going to win this game?
I like ADD draft a lot more, just because it's a bit more easy to execute. Caitlyn is a AD carry that's difficult to execute unless you're really synergized as a team. Bard is again one of those supports that you need to have your expertise in to do well, and you're being hard outskilled here by the ADD team. So when you see the team fight potential, you have all of these easy ults you can throw in, right? If Hecarim engages, you have a Seraphine ult that can go straight through them. You have a lot of AoE damage as well, and a lot of shielding with the Shen ult and the Nico ult. It's going to be really difficult to kill someone on this ADD team, even with a pick. So yeah, it
Yep.
is. I like this ADD draft more. I think playing for scaling and farming up is a lot easier of a playstyle than trying to run the map in the early stages of the game.
I think that ADD can win, but the early game is probably gonna be harder just because they're much more scaling. And in the last game, we saw that ADD was kind of struggling in the early game.
But I think that's a good adaptation from ADD. They are probably recognizing in the early game we're going to be struggling because we are not as fast as SPD were on the rotations, on the plays, right? And that does mean that you are accepting, hey, we're not going to contest you early as much, especially with the Caitlyn. We can't get shoved in that lane. Um, or you could with the Seraphine, but if you're looking to play for skill and you're looking to play the game slow, you want to be minimizing risks in the early game.
Yeah,
And we see Conqueror Hecarim. So I think we're going to see a Black Cleaver style of itemization with the Bruiser build. And
And
I see a lot of resolve tree.
we see that I didn't have time to see, but I think the Jinx has 1.5 million mastery points, which is huge.
What time are you on so I can sync up really quickly?
15.
Oh, I'm on 18, so I'll just. And I'm on 20 now.
Uh, I'm 25 now.
Yeah, then we're synced up now.
Yep, cool.
Then again, there's no cleanse in this game at all. Um, of course, there's nothing really to cleanse on the on SPT's team unless you're looking to cleanse the cocoon, which doesn't tend to be something you want to take the cleanse for. Um, but on the other side, if Kaelin gets caught by a Shen taunt or by a Seraphine ult or a Seraphine root even, I think you're just dead and the heal won't really save you. I'm also really interested in this support pick, and we see a pause. Um,
Yeah, the Jinx that he needs to fix his mouse.
I'm wondering if that issue was plaguing him beforehand or not.
Probably
Um,
not. He would have stopped the game.
yeah, they're looking to go back into the game. It was a quick fix. We're not getting a pause natic happening in here where we wait for 30 minutes for the game to start, so it is looking like we will resume shortly.
Yep. And the chat is asking, can you cleanse Bardult? Do you know
You
the answer?
cannot. It counts as a Zonia, and if you know during Zonia you can't really cast any ability whatsoever. You cannot cleanse Bard ult, sadly. Bard's stun is cleansable,
And you see
but
the Seraphine getting picked up. She does
yeah,
use her flash. That's a horrible
again,
start.
yeah, but this is annoying for ADD. It's really good for SPD because now you can punish that lane that you're going to be shoving in already. Again, you have this Elise who doesn't mind level 3 diving, and level 3 diving a Seraphine without the flash is really good and really easy to execute.
What time are you on? Because I just got the froze.
I'm in 134.
Yeah, that's good.
We see Seraphine sticking around looking to see for an invade. And this is really scary for Jinx. Caitlyn walks up. Did she level trap? Nope. She leveled her Q. And that's first blood. Wow. Totti not deciding to use his flash or heal. And I think that's just an underestimation of Caitlyn damage.
Yeah, that was
Really
really
well
well
played from
played from
Strupe.
SPD. Sproop
And
is
this
a
is
really strong ADC in my opinion, as long as I played with him or against him.
I did see him talk a lot in the chats before, so I do think he has an ego. He has the ego to back up his skill. Um, and again, this is probably why you were banning the Caitlyn in game one as ADD because Sprupa is showing confidence on this, knowing his damage, knowing he can just auto space and kite properly and kite forward. And we see a mid gank potentially. Uh, oh, and we see a disconnect from the support, and this is
Really
really,
horrible timing.
yeah. He, Seraphine seemed to be able to reconnect, and
Yep.
Nico having a camera freeze or explaining the situation, I think, in all chat.
Yeah, this timing on the pause was horrible. Just look at mid lane, you can see there's so much things going wrong.
Yeah, you can see Elise. She's looking to walk out of that bush. Maybe can even burn the Nico flash. So Nico is fighting. Never mind. Turned around. My screen froze a
Yeah,
bit.
same.
I'm stuck at 247. So bit
Same,
of a
same.
spectator bug, I think. Uh, yeah, the spectator seems to be bugged. And this is really unfortunate. Maybe Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, the spectator isn't. Okay, it started again. I'm at 250.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. That we ended up getting the Nico Flash out of on the SPD side. So that gank working out, not forcing any summoners for it. And now you have two lanes and you can really punish us as Elise to try and get the game rolling.
Okay, Elise is coming back mid lane again, but Nico is pretty safe champ. She can just W away anytime. Okay, flash from the Elise. They targeted the wrong Nico. That's where the Nico power is.
This is where the Nico power comes from.
Yeah. You can see bot lane still fight is trading. Hecarim comes in, flash from Caitlyn. Ghost from Hecarim gets the Caitlyn kill. Bard is probably coming down. No. Will they look for the Elise kill? Yone is there to back up
This
the
Jinx
bot.
is really forward, and that's really scary because you don't have your flash and your heal. It's a 1-for-1. Hecarim has the Conqueror. Nico is gonna get the Bard as well. And yeah, this is really good from ADD, somehow getting an early fight in their favor.
Yeah, that was really good for ADD. The Jinx didn't get any kills though, but Hecarim 2 kills and 1 assist in 4 minutes into the game. That's really strong.
And we see Shen going in on the Gnar, rocking Grasp, getting the trades, and you'd think Gnar would bully the Shen in lane, but he seems to be surviving. And this is looking a lot better for ADD already.
Yeah, Drake is coming up soon, but I don't think they're gonna rush the Drake anytime soon. Hecarim is backing up, getting the gold spent from the kills. Yeah, he is pretty much, yeah, he has the most gold in the game.
I'm having a bit of difficulty because I can't seem to get the scoreboard up and running. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a bit of a spectator bug. Oh well. Well, we see the Hecarim going for the Aegis of the Legion first item. So he's going to be going the Radiant Virtual Jackshow build, but he does have the tier. Bit of an interesting itemization. Normally I would see a Black Cleaver first because that item is super high value. But Hecarim decided to go straight for the for that Aegis, looking to go into a tank item straight away.
Yeah, but now I don't know if ADD will have enough damage to kill the enemy team.
I think with Hecarim with Conqueror being sped up, I don't think you're necessarily lacking it at this moment. You don't really need it. You're looking to survive, right? It is a different build to adapt to. But my keyboard is just not working in its entirety in the spectator client. So that's a really fun bug.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I'll work with these limited resources. We do see Kaylin being up in itemization still. Even though the Jinx got the 3 assists, she is still behind in CS. And the jungle matchup is going better than expected. You do expect the Hecarim to power farm and maybe for the Elise to look for an invade. And we see a bot lane fight where Hecarim is there, walking to a trap, and Seraphine is very low. So you're kind of bailing out your bot lane. This wave, you do want to push out, unless it's freezing, as it is right now. But Caitlyn can easily break that. And oh, the Q snipe on the Seraphine is not respecting it. That is very good for SPD, getting this Caitlyn more gold.
Elise is responding with invading the jungle, but we can see the bot lane still fighting. Bard barely dodges the Jinx traps. That could have gone really wrong just because
And now,
Caitlyn has no mana.
now at Hecarim, when you walk into your jungle, you kind of wish you stayed bot lane because your camps are gone. There's nothing for you on the map to do. That top lane is difficult to gank, and that Scuttle Grab is gone now too. So you're kind of like a sitting duck right now, waiting for your bot camps to respawn.
Yeah,
We see Caitlyn being super close to the to her mythic item with the Cloak of Agility completed and the Noon Quiver. But Shen holding his own in this lane, getting good trades onto the Gnar. So this is a good change for ADD.
Yeah, and
Top lane being stable.
we can see that Elise is pretty much removing the gold lead against Hecarim. It's only like 300 gold, so yeah.
It's and as SPD, you're happy with this 1k gold lead. You have it 8 minutes already. This is looking to be another fiesta on our hands, and I really hope this game stays close as it is right now.
Yeah, we're looking forward to maybe even in more intense game than the previous one.
Nico realizing, hey, my laner recalled. I want to get some wards. I want to get the pressure. I'm gonna use my ulti on the wave since I don't want to be fighting anyway. And this is looking like either a free roam or a free recall.
Yeah, and if you look at the map, the vision is mostly controlled by Team SPD.
Well, you now have you using your prio to get that ward gone and removed. And I'm just really wondering if ADD is realizing, hey, I'm a Hecarim, I have 4 camps up. I just want to clear. I want to clear my Krugs now and either look for something bot and then recall. You do want to path top to bot in this case. This Shen lane, uh, even though it could be a free kill, you don't want to invest resources into it because this Caitlyn lane is just gonna kill you over and over and over again. Oh, and we see Bard getting caught ever so slightly, but the ultimate Hecarim misses the flash and exhaust as Hecarim goes, and this is really unfortunate because the Hecarim is about to die as well. Elise doesn't jump on the Hecarim, goes on the Jinx, and wow, this is just really a back and forth fight. The Caitlyn ult going out, Nico clone getting killed, and a lot of utilities being thrown at each other, but nothing happening.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting fight. They did get the heal and flash from the Caitlyn, flash from the board, and exhaust from the board, and flash from Elise as well.
I
And
think as on both sides, you're really happy with this because it looked really grim for SPD for a bit, with the Hecarim almost being able to kill someone and the Bard barely living. And then, as ADD, you're now overcommitting and you're managing to get alive without it dying. So, I'd say a small advantage for ADD still, but you're really happy to get out of that alive.
yeah,
And CS numbers are relatively even across the board. So, this game. The lead is just in the kills that Caitlyn got bot lane, and that's basically it. No one has their mythic yet. And this is how you want the game to go if you're ADD.
Cation engaging on the Gnar. Gnar is pretty far away from his form. Trading back, but that's not enough. Hecarim doing the Herald. Bard, Elise and Yon doing the Drake. And there's nothing more going on.
And this game is looking to be a lot slower. Though the dragon taking a later pace, the Ash or the Jinx rocket doesn't really secure it. With the smite changes, it's really difficult for a Jinx to outsmite a dragon now. It happens when your smite is still at 900 damage, but when the smite reaches 1200, it's looking really unlikely for it to happen.
They're just gambling on it. If you do get
Yeah,
it, you do get it. If you don't, you don't.
it's an ultimate ability. It's not really worth anything. It's just a 100-second cooldown. It's not the end of the world if you don't get the dragon here.
Yeah.
It's Hextech or it's Chemtech Soul, so it gives you healing and shielding power and some regen. As SPD, it only really benefits your Yone and your Bard, and it kind of sucks to not get this with your Seraphine comp, but again, not the end of the world. Still really looking like ADD is just gonna sit comfortably in here and scale.
SPD may try to look out for new engages and fights. I think they can easily win early
Mm,
fights.
we see Elise looking at mid lane here. She has her red buff spawning, so if this is not happening, she's probably gonna go clear it and then walk bot lane or top lane again. Shen missing the taunt on the Gnar, does get the W down, doesn't really take damage, but now the Gnar is gonna kite it out. And this is kind of where you overstep as the Shen because you're forced to flash, you're under your tower, and now Gnar gets to just extend his farm lead and almost finish his Triforce.
Yeah, it's really not good for Shen, just because he's always under his tower. He can't really ult into fights and help out his teammates.
And you're not as the Mega Gnar especially transforming while you're gonna take the tower, so you're gonna be better at it. You have the ability to punish the next wave going down. And yeah, that's three platings going over to Tika. Tika really taking control of that top lane both games in a row. And we see an engage on the Yone going on to the Nico. Nico does pop the invisibility, so she's not targetable. And again, really even trades. Nico going for the play. Yone throwing the ulti. Ignite is slammed down. Yone still has all sums. And there's a bot lane fight happening at the same time. Really in favor of ADD. Bard dies to the Jinx. That's a kill to your hyper carry. And mid lane lives. However, Elise is there, spots her on the sweeper, and that's a kill. So 1-for-1 across the map, and you gotta wonder, is this something that you're okay with as ADD? Because yes, this Elise can now use that kill against the Snowball, but your Jinx just got another kill in a lane she should be losing.
Yeah, we can see Hecarim flanking from behind, but he doesn't have his ult. He does have Ghost, he's going to prop the Ghost.
The Shen ult going down. This is looking really scary. Oh, but the repel on time. Smite being thrown down. Flash from the Elise. And yeah, you are really upset now that this didn't work out because your Shen's low, your Hecarim's low, and you're going to be forced to farming, and Shen's going to recall. And again, those minions top lane, they are dying. And even though that wave is now pushing into the Gnar, and he can freeze it there. So this Shen putting a lot of resources and not really getting anything out of it, sadly.
Yeah, but the gold difference isn't that big. It's only 2000 gold, but in early game, it's something. It's something.
Yeah, they're playing together, blocking the Caitlyn ulti. Bard goes in, he gets trapped, and he takes a lot of HP. Jinx flashes forward, but that's a kill, that's a kill! And that's the reset! You're getting hyper, you get the double kill! And this is really great for ADD. They're looking to get their first win here with this Jinx bot lane pick.
Real well played from the Jinx. She really caught the board there.
Bard is trying to look for like miracle plays by portaling in, and he's just constantly getting trapped by those chompers. And Shen trying to go for trades, realizes he can't take him for too long because he will get out-kited. But, I mean, as Shen here, you have to be happy with how this game is going now because you're going to have a good target to ult in the Jinx, in the Hecarim. And you're quite happy. Nico still being relatively even in this mid lane. Yone does have kill pressure because he does have both of his sums still. And, yeah, the game is looking really close. It's closer than last game in the early game, which is good news for people wanting intense and important team fights.
Yeah, we can see the Drake is up. It's the Infernal Drake. Hecarim is gonna clear his bot side jungle and maybe try and look to
Mm.
kill the enemy bot lane to get the Drake.
And this is what I'm talking about with the Hecarim and how he can play. He's power farming, and even though he's uh, not getting as much done as in, he got kills on the map, he has 4 KP, which is actually more than the Elise. He's actually just winning by farming and managing to fight. And the Caitlyn ult he lands after right before the Bard ult, and then Seraphine ults her team. Bit confusing there. Um, this does mean you just lose the Infernal, so SPD is doing good with the dragon stacking here.
Yeah, SPD is securing the second Drake of the game. It's kind of looking pretty similar to the last game.
Yeah. We see a tower, top tower falling in the meantime. So yeah, it's kind of like a repeat of last game where Tika just wins that lane, gets a lot of tower damage. That ball in is also looking like it's about to drop. Again, this is kind of what you're expecting as ADD. Oh, but you're getting the fight on Tika, who's in mini, so he's really squishy, but he can wallop out of there. He's looking to go mega, and but Hecarim has the ult, has the fear, gets the shutdown, and that's again really huge. This hacker building Radiant Virtue, and this is just really good for you because you want that mana immune to get damage, and when you're healing like that with your Seraphine, you get your mana immune. You're gonna be really strong in these fights where they don't have tools to stop you.
It looks like Hecarim and Elise is going to meet soon. In the river, no, Hecarim is just gonna run away.
Yone is losing these trades, even though he has the shield bow, he can lifesteal back up a bit. He's fine being at this level HP. The cocoon goes wide. Nico, Giga Chad, walking it straight out of there.
Yeah, you can see the Seraphine roaming mid, helping out his team.
I think they're calling like, hey, Baron's gonna spawn in 30 seconds. We kind of want our bot lane, mid lane, so we have that extra pressure that our Jinx can provide. She is really strong with a Kraken Slayer, looking to go into the Zeal. Thinking, I don't need that Infinity Edge second item. I can go for a Rapid Fire Cannon or an item of that sort to really just dish out damage.
Yep.
Caitlyn, again, scary. She has that extra BF sword. She has the Kraken as well. If you walk on one of those traps, yep, there you go. That's half your HP now. And yeah, this is insane pressure that Caitlyn can provide mid. That mid tower is about to fall. Oh, this is a really clean Cocoon and the Bard ult. So that's 2 kills. And that's a shutdown over to the Caitlyn. Super well played from SPD, realizing that, hey, we're gonna get the mid tower here anyway. We can just walk in and look for kills. And that Bard ult was so nasty.
Really well played from Team SPD once again. They're just dominating the early game, even more than the last game, I would say. Have 4 towers, 2 drakes. Just not looking good for Team ADD. They just need more time to scale.
They need more time to skill, and you see that they're kind of struggling with synergy. The Seraphine flashing away from the Cocoon, causing the Nico to get hit, or the Nico flashing away, causing the Seraphine to get hit. Both having flash up. I think that's just either a reaction timing thing or a miscommunication. I see a call in the chat asking if Kraken is correct here or not. That is an argument to be made. You, as Jinx, don't really have a lot of frontline to hit, but I think if you go Gale Force this game, you're gonna be lacking so much damage. Because that Gnar, when he's Mega, he's gonna be in your face. And the same with Caitlyn. If that Hecarim's in your face, Gale Force won't save you. He's gonna sprint after you with that Ghost. And if Hecarim's just on top of you, any bit of damage you can get down with the true damage is probably gonna be quite valuable here with the Kraken. Oh, this is a really good counter engage from ADD. However, Nico dies. Hecarim is healing with Radiant Virtue, but he pops to the Caitlyn and to the Yone. And this is where you see that Kraken Slayer and the BF sword on the Caitlyn really shining already. However, we get the counter kill. Caitlyn not comes out. That's a double for the Caitlyn. This is going to be an ace at 22 minutes. Probably looking for a Baron already. And this is really well played from SPD, and it's really going to snowball their lead. And this makes the scaling comp feel a bit too slow now. If they get Baron here, they're gonna get that mid inhib tower eventually. Those tier 2s are gonna fall.
Yeah, and the 6,000 gold lead is not fun to watch. Drake is coming up soon. The SPD is going to probably secure the third Drake. And I don't even know what would you do if you were ADD in this
I
situation.
think you keep your head down and you start looking for miracle plays. It is it is annoying to play out, but this is still definitely winnable. You have that Jinx, and if that Jinx gets online, it will be fine. We see Jinx building a pickaxe, so there could be an IE looking to just have that zeal for the extra attack speed. And but yeah, you realize, hey, it's a Cloud Soul. It's good for the movement speed and for the macro, but when we're behind, we're gonna be walking in our base anyway. I think you leave that be and you just wait for Elder.
Yeah, we can see SPD has just, I don't even know what's happening. SPD is 5 men as a top and ADD is pretty split up.
Seraphine getting caught there, not walking with her team, but that Bard ult really splitting them in the middle. Nico forced the ult, but Rocket belts away. Blocks the Caitlyn ult, but now you have to abandon this tower, no? It is impossible to stay around here, you will die, and that tower is about to fall.
At least is chasing Hecarim. They're probably gonna go for Drake.
Hecarim does have the mana mune now, so he is gonna pump out a lot more damage, but the question is, can they survive a fight like this now? We see that Seraphine went for the Shrelia, so she doesn't have the Moonstone to keep healing the team uh, permanently, instead giving movement speed to Hecarim, which could be valuable. But yeah, these fights are so difficult with the amount of damage that SPD has.
Yep.
And we see Kaden going for a Bloodthirster third with that Vamp Scepter. That is an interesting idea. But I think you're going to be hitting Shen and Hecarim a lot. And they are built itemizing the tanky items. Hecarim gets his Color Crab, uses Smites for it, realizes there's nothing I need to save it for. Smiting a champion, the 120 damage won't win us a fight. And I think that this mid control is really helping.
Yeah, Caitlyn is really strong as well. Look at her damage. She can probably just 2-tap the Seraphine.
Yes. Bard almost getting trapped in the Caitlyn traps. But oh, and Jinx almost getting caught as well. But that's objective bounty mid lane, hopefully. The exhaust goes down, the surf note goes down, they should walk out fine. As Tika is fighting in the top lane against the Shen, and wow, just on two fronts, so much pressure here already. The Shen can't really ult in here, because he will die to if he does, and it is it's a mid tower and everyone gets out alive. So in the end, I don't think this is something you're mad about if you're ADD. You're really happy with this. That tiny bit of gold you get can really start working towards an Infinity Edge for the Jinx. Because once she gets that and she gets those AoE crits on the rockets, I think this will be a lot more playable in fights.
Yep. You can see Gunnar really well trading the Shen. Fight going on mid lane, Hecarim ghosting, and Elise is probably gonna go down. Yeah, Jinx goes
That's
for
a
kill.
shutdown to the Jinx, and this is also again really good for the IE. Running down to Nar, realizing he's low HP, I can just collect this wave, probably the next wave too. And yeah, you're now quite happy again as ADD. And they're managing to swing this game back and forth again.
Yep.
I wonder if that's Ekram dead, but no, he lives. The W gives resistances. You already have high base armor as that champion, so you are. I see in chat that someone mentioning that this game is really unplayable for ADD, and how can SPD lose this game? And to be honest, I think this game can still be flipped over a Baron or a Elder, especially if you get Elder as ADD here. You have AoE damage, you're going to be proccing that burn, you're going to get the execute or the built-in pike ult, as I like to call it. And
Yeah, and
yeah, it
SPD
is.
need to be really careful pushing into the enemy base. Like it's so easy to just die from nowhere. Like most of the time, people just push into the enemy base thinking, "Oh, we're ahead and winning," but look at the fight
Oh,
going on.
the Bard is being caught. Is he gonna die? Jinx flashes forward, gets the kill, and that's another kill over to the Jinx. And she has her IE. That's Elise. It's gonna die too. And you're so happy as this Jinx. You're resetting. There's a Gnar, massive Gnar ult. Does it kill the Jinx? Jinx is still alive. And she's DPSing the Gnar. Gnar forced to flash out. And what a fight for ADD. This is so huge. You get control of your jungle. You can maybe look for this red buff if you want to get on the Jinx or just give it away. But this is a lot of money you're getting, and this is huge. Both fights trying to play to their best of their ability, and ADD is just getting out on top of there, even though they're 7k gold behind.
Yeah, that's exactly how you turn the game around.
Like I said, this game isn't over. ADD has been playing from behind in both game 1 and game 2 and still getting these fights. We see the Black Cleaver coming in for Hecarim, so he's going to be shredding armor as well. We see Shadow Flame on Nico way earlier than last game, and we see an LDR on Jinx, so she just realizes, hey, I just need AD, I just need armor pen. I will win this fight for my team. I don't need rapid fire cannon because they'll keep them away from me. And this is just really good.
Just
Oh, but that
look at
Caitlyn
that.
auto! Wow. Okay, well, that's the power of BT, I guess. Giving that extra AD. You don't need the armor pen if they're not building armor, right?
Yeah.
And I guess I was proven wrong in Spoop's item choices. Hecarim is zooming out of there. Ults out of the Gnar ult. I think you're fine with that. Radiant Virtue does proc, so you don't have it for this fight. But like I said, you can just give this dragon and play for Elder.
Yeah, they're securing the soul. That
The
soul would
Jinx
have been
ult to
huge for
sneakily try and
Hecarim.
get it still. Yeah, it's huge and Hecarim doesn't get it, but like, yeah, it's the movement speed is heavily undervalued in most games. But like I said before, if you're in your base most of the time, that movement speed will only help you get into fights that you don't want to start. And yeah, ADD deciding to give the Baron here as well. Really turtling in their base, being like, we need to farm, we need to scale, we can hold these Baron waves.
They might look for a fight now.
I think if I were SPD, I would reset here. We just got two objectives. We have quite a bit of money. Maybe I want to get a Zeal or a Last Whisper built on the Caitlyn, which he does. Yone can build his Death Dance. And yeah. Again, though, this Elise build really is just buying low cost, low damage items with the only real damage item or anything uh, giving a notable amount of AP being the Night Harvester. So again, armor is going to be super valuable, and we just see Shen. He's just building Sunfire now. He doesn't even care about the Elise, probably because he doesn't have the gold too. But yeah,
I'm looking forward if AD can flip this game around once again.
I think it's definitely possible for them. But against a team like SPD, who really knows how to play from a lead, yep, there we go. That's the stasis. That's the Bard ult, the Kaelin trap. Hecarim going in though, getting ulted by the Shen, and then now they're split. Nico is now tanking the front line while Hecarim is fighting in the back line. Hecarim runs out. It's a 2-0, and this might be the game.
Yeah, I think this will be the game. They have the Baron, they have the huge wave.
And that's why you want to take cleanse. Even though I said before it probably isn't necessary. If you had cleanse as an AD carry, you'd be laughing and smiling. But anyway, this is GG. Really close. Even though it's a 2-0 sweep, commendable from both teams. And congratulations to SPD.
SPD go ahead into the next week undefeated once again. They're 4-0 for now. We're looking forward to see what's going to happen next week, and we're gonna get an interview pretty soon with both of the team captains or not. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that game felt quite close, even though it did end in 32 minutes. It was a valiant effort from ADD, and I think this is definitely a performance they should not be upset about, even though it's a 2-0.
Yeah. Who do you think shined the most in this game? Like the
Well, I
two of the
think
games.
I think Sprupa really, especially in the second game, just showed discomfort on that Caitlyn. In game one, he didn't really like playing that Varus. And I think Tuti, unironically, was probably the best player in both of those games. Really putting the team on his back in game one, managing to get kills and fighting in that mid game in the second game. But I think the synergy from SPD was just too strong.
Yeah, and we now have Tika Masala here from Team SPD. May you introduce yourself?
Hey, what's up? I'm Tico. I play top lane, and I'm here to smash.
Nice, nice.
Well, Smash you did.
Yeah, but really, really well played. So, I have a question. Who do you think was what was the reason that those two games were so hard? Like, especially the first game it seemed like you were kind of struggling to end the game.
Yeah, I think we had some mixed opinions on sort of how to play out our team comp because it was not easy to execute with the champs that we had. But I think after some hiccups in the mid game, we sort of got it together and found a way to end.
Yeah, you managed to get the soul and you managed to get the Baron as well, which meant that you can really just walk in there. Because that's kind of what your team wanted to do, right? You have the Darius, you want him to run right to the Zaya, try and kill her. And with that lead, it seems more possible, but it seemed to go wrong in the mid game.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely wanted to use the Ash Varus poke around the objectives and get them down because they didn't really have much sustain besides the Gragas passive, and yeah, the whole plan was for us to poke him down and for me to come in and clean up with the Silas.
Yeah. And then yeah, you're now still undefeated, 4-0 at the top of the standings. How do you think this is gonna continue in the weeks ahead, and are you confident you're able to keep this momentum going?
Well, we're building up a synergy as a team, and we're practicing different comps. We had a little bit more of a structured decision behind our comps today compared to the last couple of series that we've played. And I think if we just keep on doing the work with scouting and planning out the drafts, we should be fine.
Yeah, and this is the fourth week of the Sunday Cup, and this is the fourth week that you are potentially the MVP of your team. Did you expect this?
No, honestly, I came into this whole Sunday Cup thing looking to pretty much just play tanks and play a weak side. And I'm still the weak side of the team, but I think the individual skill just allows me to sort of snowball my lane on my own, and we sort of recognize that getting me ahead a little bit early on just means that I can hold the rest of the lane while my jungler can help out the mid and bot lanes.
So
Yeah.
you're saying you want to hold the fort in your weak side kingdom? And,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing is, like, as we have like 4 support mains on the team, right? And we're all willing to sort of play around each other, which I think is like just the general attitude of support players, which is probably why they play support. It's that they're willing to play 4 other lanes, 4 other people, which I think is sort of helping us recognize in the middle of a game and adapt to what we need to win the game.
Yeah, and your next game next week is going to be against Troglodytes. What do you think about them? Are they really a challenge for you, or do you think you're gonna stomp them?
Well, I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna stomp anyone. I think I'm looking forward to it. They're the other undefeated team, if I'm correct, right?
What? No, Troglodytes
They're-
are
No.
been defeated. Undefeated are CBS.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna keep playing the way we're playing, I think, and yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any opinions. I'm not the type of person who sits and scouts out and stalks everyone's OBGG. for the most part, I think I am fine with just picking whatever works for the team and hoping for the best.
Then I have one more less serious question. Do you think we're gonna get a 2019 wonder moment where you pick Pike top lane?
I don't know about that. I think solo lane Pike is so disgustingly bad, but you know, if I do pick it, then you're for sure gonna see that I'm hella confident going into the game. Maybe in the second round robin.
Sure. Well, do you have any more questions, Zeta?
Yeah, one more. What do you think about AD as opponents? Are they like how they play? Are they strong? Not?
I think they had a good game plan, but it was pretty. I don't want to say easy, but it was easy for us to adapt to their game plan, which to us seemed like they just wanted to play around bot. And in game one, it worked out pretty well for them until we got to the late game. But I think they're good. I didn't really have a free lane top lane that I sort of looked forward to. not to be too rude, but yeah, I think they play well with the jungler. He was sort of there at the right place at the right time. But yeah, if with a bit more practice, I think it should be stronger contenders for the next round robin.
All right, that's it. Maybe you wanna shout out something or something? Yeah.
I just want to shout out my team, man. We're playing good. Vibes are good in the team. We're having fun. No one's really stressing out about anything. And I think the thing I appreciate most is that if something goes wrong, we're not pointing fingers and arguing with each other. We're just looking for a way to salvage whatever mistake we may have made and try to correct it.
All right, that's it. Thank you for the interview. Thank you for the incredible games, and looking forward to see you next week even more.
I'll be looking forward to playing against you, Tika.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good day.
All right. All right. So we're gonna try and get an interview from Team ADD. I believe it's their coach, Croker. Hello.
Hi, coach and player now, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
How do you feel about your debut now as playing for the team in the Sunday Cup? How did you feel like it went?
Well, I won't lie, I feel kinda no, just a lot. I'm very tilted right now, but not with my team, like more with myself, because I played really, really, really bad. But also because supportive really could cancel me. Like they pressured my jungle so hard I couldn't move anywhere. But yeah, I could have played this a lot better, especially on the Gragas game.
I mean, against a team like SPD, they're really strong, right? And you already know that this matchup is going to be rough. So it probably does feel really tough to play out those games, especially when you want to get action done on the map. But one thing we were like thinking about is you being their coach. How did that change like the team dynamic in terms of shot calling and how you wanted to make plays?
Yeah, I think we get along pretty well. I don't think that's a big problem. Because I'm coach in title, but I'm more like a friend that gives advice, I guess. But yeah, I don't think that influences at all. Because we have a really informal relation, right? So that's not a problem at all. But and I think it's kind of good because I can point out things during the game that I couldn't otherwise. So I think we're playing a lot better now. But yeah, was a tough game.
Yeah, I can definitely tell that I've seen a lot more difference between today's game and last week's games. And I have a question. Who do you think, or what was the problem that led you to your defeat?
Well, in the first game, I mean, in both games there was a pretty. I'm pretty sure. I'll watch the replay, but I'm pretty sure that it was a huge vision difference. because we couldn't move. And I mean, in the second game, I can understand because we played a really scaly team, so we didn't have pressure anywhere. Shen was under turret all game. Our bot lane was kind of under turret all game because they have an early bot lane. So it's kind of natural that we lose um, like on the vision side in that game. Um, Especially when you play against a good support, which was the case definitely, um, because they can exploit that. Scaly teams usually work better with lower tier teams, let's call it like that, because they won't exploit the vision and the pressure they have. But they did that very well. So maybe it wasn't a good idea to go scale against them, and that's on me, I guess. But in the first game, that Ash was so annoying, so annoying. I couldn't. I swear that was my tilting point. She like cleared vision, put vision everywhere. She always knew where I was. That was so annoying. Well played to her.
I,
Um, but yeah,
I mean, even though you did play a scaling comp, you did make the game kind of close. Even in the early game, you were ahead in kills at one point. You were getting
yeah,
fights in your favor. I think that was a very commendable performance in that game one as well. You
yeah.
did keep the fight up for quite a long time. So I think that was really impressive. Also from your AD carry, just still managing to DPS all the time.
Yeah. I mean, we usually maybe I shouldn't say this, but we usually play for our bot side. I think it's the best way to do that. To win the game, at least it's how we have more success. But we also need to really improve how we play the side lanes, because we let the side lanes push all the time, and that lets our enemies pressure the jungle easier. Maybe we should also see how we can improve our weak side, which is usually top, not always, but usually improve. Like not that he played bad. That's not what I mean, but like um, maybe safer champs or something. We actually tried to give him last pick, but we couldn't do that because we know he's gonna be weak side. And yeah, is I
Mm.
mean it's Shen versus Gnar. What can he do?
Yeah,
uh,
it's a tough matchup.
but yeah, because we lose a lot of pressure on the side lane, especially in the mid game. But yeah, well,
Yeah,
we have to improve that.
and that's the downside of blue side, right? As in you get the first prio pick, and in the
Yeah,
first game was the Zaya and then the Jinx, and they put in a lot of work, but you have to sacrifice one of your side lanes for it.
yeah,
Or
exactly. I mean, we chose blue side ma- mostly because um, it's easier to gank bot lane, right?
yeah,
Especially because I knew I couldn't play Zac, right? They're always gonna ban my Zac.
yeah.
So I mean, we chose blue side because of that mostly, and because we know that they play Zaya a lot, so we could like choose if we want to play Zaya or not, and save a ban. But yeah, you're right in that regard. It's maybe we should think like maybe we should think about red side in another game.
Yeah, and why did you decide to change up your the team member? I believe there was a switch for one of the members.
Oh, it's just we're just trying new stuff. It's just not really a big reason about that. Mm, I mean, there's no really
Mm.
we sub a lot in our team.
I mean, that's good, right? You get to like expand your champion pools by having multiple players,
Yeah.
focus on multiple champions, and I guess in a best of three, adapting like that can be your greatest strength. Uh,
Sorry.
So yeah, in a best of three, when you can adapt like that by being like, hey, this player might lane better into
Oh
this
yeah.
matchup, um, it is definitely an advantage you guys have if you're actively subbing. So that's
And honestly, because this tournament, I mean, of course we try harding, but we also want to have fun, right? And so I think everyone should play.
so. Should we be scared for an ADD win next week? Are you
Yeah,
confident?
I'm pretty sure we're gonna win games. I have little doubt about that because we're getting so much better than we were before. I have no doubts in my mind about that. We have done scrims with the other teams and we did very well. Today was a bit harsh, but yeah, it's well, it's also my bad because I didn't play on my level for sure. But yeah,
Well,
um,
it's exciting to hear that you guys are still confident in your ability, and maybe we can look forward to an ADD miracle run.
I'll be honest with you. I was pretty excited because I thought we were gonna win today,
I
but maybe
I get that
maybe
feeling.
sorry.
I had the same thing with my games. It's like you're playing,
Yeah,
you're really confident because your practice is going well, right? And but
yeah,
it's a good thing, no? Because you know, like, hey, we practice well. We are still losing, but that gives you learning points, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah. Sure.
I think it's good for. I think you guys will bounce back next week really well.
And to be
Yeah,
honest, this was one of the best teams in the Sunday Cup and one of the all the members' favorites for the first place.
yeah. I mean, in the first game, well, maybe this is I have to watch the replay again, but the first game was supposed to be ours. We just played really bad on team fights. We also didn't have. I mean, our comp we trolled a bit because I mean we played Gragas with Nico and Leona, and it happened countless times. Lack of energy, lack of synergy between champs. And countless times I ulted as Gragas, I ulted people out of Nico ults or out of Leona ults, or I mean, it was just really not good. But that was our game for sure. But well, we let it slip.
Well, I think you guys played that game really well, and the fact that you got a chance was really really impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
And the last question is, what are the things that you're proud of the team? Like, are the things that you can build upon?
Yeah, well, I think our team got really, really, really much better. I mean, I think the way we were playing the first games, we would have no chance of winning like any game, or we would just have like we could have a lucky game, I guess, but it would be really hard. And the way I mean, there's still a lot of work to do, no doubt, but the way we're now starting to play more on the side lanes, the way we rotate, like push side and rotate and group have a numerical advantage while you have the side pushed and that kind of things. Um, um, I mean, we just got a lot better in our mid game, and in the laning phase too, actually. So I think that's really good. But yeah, we still have a lot to explore, namely on the side lanes. I think it's still one of our main weaknesses. Um, and I don't know how we team fight. That's really important. We left in the first game. There was a couple instances where we left Zaya completely alone, and that can happen, especially when we play strong side bot lane. She always has to be protected by someone. So yeah, there's lots of things we can improve. Um, well, we'll figure it out, I guess.
All right, thank you for the interview. Do you wanna shout out anything? Say something to the enemy team?
Well, I have to say congratulations to that support because he plays really well. Um, in my opinion, he carried the team really hard. But yeah, we'll have revenge next time.
I mean, there are 4 support mains in the enemy team, so yeah.
Oh, I mean the Ash player.
The Ash player,
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. All right, thank you for the interview. Good luck on your next team.
All right, thank you, man. See you.
See you.
See you.
And the next game will be at Saturday, 19 o'clock at Central European Time. It will be PhD versus Team Mental Papier.
Yeah, that's a team that is gonna be a good match, no? PhD do look kind of strong, and Team Mental Papier having one upset loss, but they were really strong in their first series, and I haven't seen their most recent one, but that's gonna be an exciting match to watch, so you probably should tune in.
Yeah, definitely an exciting match. Do you have anything to say more?
Well, no, it was a good best of three to cast, and I had fun casting with you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you everyone for being here, for watching, especially for the people that are active in the chat and everything. And yeah,
Yeah.
we're about to end.